Prince Harry just suffered the most devastating courtroom defeat of his entire life. He has been filing lawsuits so frequently since about 2019. He has just been sprinkling them like confetti around the world, it feels like. And this one, the A&L case, was his crown jewel of his legal crusade. He thought this was going to really tie things together and vindicate him and prove to everyone just how wronged he's been. This one went on for the longest amount of time, was the biggest case by far, and was the most expensive, honestly, in his portfolio of lawsuits, okay? And he lost. A crushing legal blow that derailed his crusade against the British press and could leave him and his co-claimants on the hook for a staggering £50 million legal bill. After breaking down in tears on the witness stand earlier this year, swearing that the Daily Mail made his wife's life an absolute misery, the High Court judge threw out every single one of his claims, ruling that Harry's case was built on paranoia and suspicion, not actual proof, which was plain to see for everybody who has followed the case and the Prince Harry-Meghan Markle Sussex saga of doom. He just released a fiery statement calling the judge's ruling an obvious whitewash, while the Mail's former editor is publicly firing back, calling Harry a confused and angry young man. That was generous. I wouldn't call him a young man anymore. Today we are going to break down why Harry's case collapsed, the scathing insults being thrown from both sides, and what this massive loss really means for Harry and his reputation. When he got his security denied, once again, and then he appealed the decision and said that it was unlawful. He lost that court case and he lost the appeal, okay? When that happened, he did an interview with the BBC, I believe it was at that point, and he said that it was a stitch-up. Now, this decision is a whitewash. It's time that he understands that in the court of law, if you cannot prove your case and the judge does not agree with you and you lose, that's final. That's the that on that. That is the whole point of a court case. So at a certain point, it would be so refreshing for Harry to actually just accept what the court finds, like people have to do in real life. If you lose a court case or you win a court case, it's settled. Besides an appeal, and if you lose the appeal, then that's that, it's over. It's time to move on. It sucks to not get your way, but you gotta practice moving on when you don't. And Harry really needs practice with that. It really sort of corroborates the opinion that I and many people have that Harry is really, really petulant, really, really spoiled, very, very self-centered, unyielding, and inflexible, and unwilling to accept a defeat because it's simply not his way. If something isn't the way he wants, then it's automatically wrong, rather than maybe he was wrong, or maybe he's being unreasonable. You know what I mean? And in my personal experience, that's not a very likable trait. But this high-stakes battle against this tabloid giant of A&L who owns the Daily Mail was huge and very, very long running. This case was running for longer than all the rest, I think. Prince Harry joined forces with 6 other high-profile figures, including music icon Elton John, his husband David Furnish, actress Elizabeth Hurley, and actress Sadie Frost, and former politician Simon Hughes, and a campaigner Baroness Doreen Lawrence. The group together accused Associated Newspapers Limited, A&L, the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday, of widespread, habitual, unlawful information gathering between 1993 and 2011, with claims extending up to 2018, which is significant because Harry and Meghan only got married in 2018 and were dating in 2017. She was only announced to us in 2017, I believe. And so Harry saying that they made his wife's life an absolute hell was so exaggerated and ridiculous because she was literally in the last year of the claim period of time. And that was a pretty significant span of time. Nearly 20 years they had these claims documented, allegedly. Anyway, allegations included phone hacking, landline tapping, bugging private properties via private investigators, and bribing police for insider tips. During the 11-week trial earlier this year, Harry became the first royal in 130 years to testify extensively in court, holding back tears as he described how tabloid snooping made him paranoid beyond belief. I'm pretty sure he was paranoid even without that, but okay, and turned Meghan Markle's life into an absolute misery. The summary of the High Court decision, basically why he lost, which was an extraordinarily, almost shockingly definitive loss. The High Court Justice Matthew Nicklin dismissed all 97 claims brought by Harry and his co-claimants in their entirety. There was not an inch given to Harry here, absolutely none. So this is as decisive as it gets, really. It wasn't, you got a couple of things that maybe you have some justification on. No, all 97 completely dismissed in their entirety. You can't get more decisive than that. And the plethora of claims being dismissed, the sheer volume is extremely significant when it comes to a court case as well. Because when you have that many claims, that 97 different things, the odds are in your favor that at least a few of them you'll get. Even if you got like 10%, you would still be getting a handful of claims in your favor. Absolutely none. The fatal flaw was that Harry's case was built on suspicion, not proof. It was built on his paranoia, on his inferences of what was going on, and he had so many holes in his story. The judge ruled that the claimants failed to reach the required evidential threshold. In his written judgment, Justice Nicklin stated that suspicion, even understandable suspicion, is not the same as proof. Facts. Harry's team argued that because published articles contained deeply private information and because the newspaper couldn't definitively explain where they got that information, it must have been obtained illegally. The judge firmly rejected this approach, ruling that newspapers don't automatically lose a case just because sources are undisclosed. Exactly. Could you imagine the precedent that would set? That would be insanity. Because the whole point of journalism, of having a source, is you protect your source. Literally at all costs. So you vet your source for accuracy and legitimacy, and then you protect them. You do not give that away, and you don't have to give that information away. At least not in my journalism education. That's what I learned. The defense, A&L, they successfully demonstrated that their reporting stemmed from ordinary legitimate journalism. Defense lawyers and journalists testified that stories came from authorized palace spokespersons, PR reps, and leaky social circles rather than illegal wiretaps, which makes sense. Remember, during a massive amount of this time frame, Harry was out there like drinking in pubs all the time, leaving clubs super drunk and or otherwise, perhaps high or something, and sometimes violent to the paparazzi and whatnot during this time. It was a turbulent season of time for Harry, so it would stand to reason that he had loose lips also, amongst the people that he was around, and that he maybe was around people who didn't have the same respect for privacy that some of the other royal circles do, or some of the people who are maybe friends with William had. Maybe, Harry didn't have the most solid social circle during this time frame. But by losing the case, Harry and his fellow claimants face A&L's massive legal bill. Total court costs for both sides are estimated to top £50 million or $67 million, leaving the losing group with a monumental financial penalty. Basically, Harry and his co-claimants have to pay not only their own legal bills, but they need to pay for the court's time, and they need to pay for A&L's legal bills to defend themselves. In a joint statement with Doreen Lawrence, Harry refused to accept the ruling quietly, calling it a complete and obvious whitewash, but sadly not altogether unexpected. He argued that the lengths the court went to exonerate the male were shocking and totally unwarranted. I disagree completely. I have been following this case in the press, and what Harry wanted was to say basically that just because they can't say exactly where they got it, it must have been gathered illegally, which is completely lacking understanding of journalism and protecting your sources. And it's completely ignoring his irresponsible season in life when he was a young man doing all sorts of things. By his own admission, he was doing drugs, he was high often, and he was drinking way too much. I'm sorry, people like that you can't really trust, and people like that often do divulge information and are gossipy about their own lives and don't vet their social circle very well. Like, duh, hello. Harry publicly expressed frustration that this judge's dismissal completely contradicts his previous legal victories, including his successful phone hacking lawsuits against Mirror Group newspapers, where he was awarded damages, and his substantial out-of-court settlement with the Sun. But that doesn't really make sense. Just because you won one case doesn't mean you will win the next case. This one was a completely new case. Completely new evidence needed to be provided, and he failed to do so. Comparing two separate cases is apples and oranges. The Associated Newspapers, though, have taken a victory lap. A&L celebrated the ruling as an overwhelming victory for the Daily Mail and its journalists, and for a free press generally, which I agree with. You do have to be able to protect your sources, and you do have to be able to seek out sources without fear that somebody's going to claim you're doing something shady. They called the judgment a magnificent vindication of their reporting. And, I would argue also, like, their reputation during this court case season has been sitting under a stark storm cloud, which is not necessarily fair to them. Like, as a business owner, I would be pretty pissed that this happened and that my reputation or my company's reputation has been under scrutiny unfairly for years just because of Harry's false claims. The editor-in-chief of Associated and former 26-year editor of the Daily Mail took direct personal shots at Harry following the verdict, publicly branding him a confused and angry man, mocked his memoir Spare by saying Harry wrote a sad book which boasted about killing of 25 Taliban, his drug taking, and in cringe-making detail how he lost his virginity. I agree completely with this man, this Paul man. I agree. Spare doesn't help his case in any way, shape, or form. And remember when he was on the stand for this A&L case, he was contradicting Spare multiple times. And remember how I was telling you guys in my last video that there was a guy, a witness, named Gavin Burrows, who had come out earlier this year and said, I did not write this witness statement. This was not me. Let me give you the details here, the facts, okay? Harry and his co-claimants case really was relying on this witness statement, and I have my suspicions of what was going on behind the scenes here. This courtroom drama surrounds Gavin Burrows. He was a private investigator whose bombshell recantation became the turning point that derailed Prince Harry's case against the A&L. What started as the claimant's smoking gun turned into a legal disaster that A&L's defense team used to systematically dismantle the entire lawsuit. This makes perfect sense to me, why this happened, and I have a few theories, but we're going to start with the facts here, okay? Gavin Burrows is a private investigator who was initially named as a crucial star witness for the 7 co-claimants, Prince Harry, Sir Elton John, Baroness Doreen Lawrence, and the actresses, the other people involved, okay? In August 2021, the witness statement submitted by the claimant's legal team, so Harry's legal team submitted this witness statement that was allegedly signed by Gavin Burrows that said that Burrows confessed to carrying out widespread illegal surveillance on behalf of the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday. The document claimed that he and his operatives had targeted hundreds, possibly thousands, of people for A&L, wiretapping landlines, hacking voicemails, bugging vehicles with listening devices, and using blagging or deception to obtain private medical and financial records. Because newspapers rarely leave paper trails for illegal snooping, Burrows' confession was the foundational link connecting the tabloids directly to the unlawful acts. Harry's case relied on this statement far too much. It was basically like, well, we have Gavin Burrows' witness statement here on paper, and that's pretty much all we need to prove everything that we're claiming. But before the trial reached its conclusion, Burrows completely retracted his confession, submitting a 30-page witness statement declaring that he had never carried out illegal activity for A&L. He stated under oath, I do not recognize the earlier witness statement of 16 August 2021, and I believe that my signature on that document is a forgery. A lot of it is not written in my type of language. Further, the contents of this statement are substantially untrue. Burroughs alleged that at the time the 2021 statement was drafted, he was recovering from a serious physical assault, drinking heavily and high on doses of painkillers. He claimed he was approached by Graham Johnson, a former tabloid journalist and convicted phone hacker who was paid as a researcher assisting the claimant's legal team. Burroughs testified that he had told Johnson 100 times that A&L were not one of my clients, but alleged that researchers were pushing the narrative because lawsuits against the papers were viewed as a perfect scam and a gravy train designed to force quick out-of-court financial settlements. Not surprising, is it? Because that's exactly what Harry has been doing for the last few years, trying to force settlements out of court from the Sun and the Mirror Group, and he's tried to do it with A&L. But during the trial, Burroughs ended up testifying via video link from an undisclosed overseas location, claiming that he and his family had received threats since the saga had began. In a stunning courtroom reversal, Prince Harry's lead barrister, David Sherborne, was forced to ask the judge for permission to treat his own witness as hostile. Sherborne aggressively cross-examined Burroughs, accusing him of lying and suggesting he only changed his story after a financial and book deal fallout with Graham Johnson. During a testy exchange on the virtual stand, Burroughs fired back directly at Harry's legal team, saying that this thing is based on a pack of lies. You have got to explain to your claimants how you have been conned. This is very dramatic and unusual for a courtroom exchange. To turn on your own witness and treat them as hostile is really, really an anomaly in a court case. And to have this drama playing out of, no, my witness statement was forged, my family's being threatened, I need to be in hiding while I testify. All of this is fake. You have been conned by this guy, this other guy, is wild. Wild. But without Burroughs' statement, Harry's legal team lost their primary direct link, proving A&L hired investigators to hack phones and bug cars. The case shifted from having an alleged confessed perpetrator to relying entirely on circumstantial patterns, arguing that because stories contained private information, they must have been sourced illegally, which is the exact thing that brought down Harry's entire case. Associated newspapers obviously seized on this recantation, framing the entire multi-million-pound lawsuit as a manufactured witch hunt fueled by paid researchers and compromised witnesses. When High Court Justice Matthew Nicklin dismissed all claims, he anchored his ruling in the lack of hard verifiable proof. Because the star witness's statement was thoroughly discredited, the judge ruled that Harry's case amounted to suspicion, even understandable suspicion, which is not proof, leaving Harry and his co-claimants facing a legal bill that could top £50 million. Ouch. I think there is a possibility of a handful of theories going on behind the scenes with this, but one that really seems to feel likely is that Harry tried to build a case around his desired outcome, and he tried to find people who were willing to kind of throw together evidence or statements to support his case and his desired outcomes. He didn't actually have any evidence. He tried to fabricate it and create it, and it got messy, as such things will do. Because at the end of the day, if a fact is a fact, it's not messy. It just is. And you don't need to explain it. You don't need to defend it. You don't need to get other people to come in and be like, yes, it's a fact. It's just a fact. And he didn't have any. I'm glad that he lost this case, quite frankly, because he was pulling all sorts of fast ones, trying to lie, saying that one thing in spare, saying something else in the court system. Just, it was a mess. And if he had won it, then it would have been just so laughable. It would have been such a joke. It really would have. Because even just his contradictions from Spare and things that he said on Netflix and in Oprah, that alone, to me, should have just, dismissed the case on that alone. But then, of course, the lack of proof, and for journalists and protecting their sources and just the whole entire thing, it just would have been like a serious tragedy and miscarriage of justice if he had won. So I'm quite frankly glad that he lost this case. and glad that it's over. Hopefully Harry stops trying to use the courts to create his own gravy train to support his life now that he has to work for a living. Hopefully he moves on now. Well, I will be back very soon with more videos. Thank you so much for joining me. I would like to hear what you think about this case and the decision in the comments section, and whether or not you think Harry is going to pour money into this and try to pursue an appeal. Over on the second channel, we do have an important update up, and soon I will be getting a fashion edition filmed of all of Princess Catherine's recent beautiful, glorious outfits, including her 3 Peaks challenge, which was super duper cool and inspiring to see. So be sure you're subscribed there if you would like to catch that video. I'm going to be filming it tomorrow or the next day, so it'll be out pretty soon. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye!